How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. Well, we've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute in Hollywood.
Yes.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
That's right. We're the Belong Dead Studios West.
Yeah.
It was recorded live before Studio Audio.
That's true, apparently. The podcast where we, dissect the Universal Frankenstein films minute by minute. Are you stopping?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I'm Bill
I've
Evenson.
had enough of this.
He's canceling. This is the last one. Just put this out, and that'll be the end.
That'll be the end of it.
Fuck
you're
you.
Like glassware crashing. And I'm Thom
Cat,
Lang.
of course, meowing. I'm sorry, I stepped on your name.
No, that's all right. And we're at what the hell is this? 66.
66, order 66.
Of 1931's Frankenstein.
I gotta say, earlier today we went to In-N-Out Burger because we're out west.
Yes.
And my order number was order number 66.
That's right.
That's right.
So it's Kismet.
This is it. This is a special episode.
It's a very special tonight on a very special Frankenstein Minute.
Oh boy.
We're back at the mill. Henry has just come to, lying on the floor, and the monster continues to roar in impotent rage and wave his hands in the air at the crowd below.
It's exactly how I would describe it.
Yeah.
And then the subtitles said snarls.
Snarls, yeah.
Like that's a sound you can make, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's great.
It's snarly.
If you can make a sound called a snarl,
he made it.
Karloff does it here.
Yeah, I think we mentioned last time that there's sort of a childlike thing with him waving his hands, sort of wishing the mob away.
Yeah, I like that. And then.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and then Henry tries to crawl down the hole head first.
Which he's already been whomped on the head.
Yeah, I think it's been a great success, this podcast. I think what it's done is it's made me notice things in this movie. So this podcast was, as we all know, was just for me.
Yes,
and so now I have this. Now I
me.
Noticed that Henry's trying to crawl down that head first. I don't think I ever really noticed it before.
Yeah.
But when you watch it as just an isolated minute, it's obvious that he's trying to get away.
Yeah.
And really poorly.
Yeah, that didn't seem like the brightest idea. Though, of course, he has had a concussion, so...
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was going to see, so that would explain it. I was going to say Henry's kind of a guy who did one thing really well. He had that one great success.
One moment,
and then,
things went a little south after that.
More than a little.
Oh, then they chase each other around the mill.
Yeah, the monster puts his hand. Puts his hands together.
Two-fisted.
Yeah, so he puts. We're both doing it. That's not helpful. Unless is this a video podcast?
Well, it could be. I haven't started over.
Maybe let's stream this one.
Yeah.
So he puts his hands together and swings his. You put your two hands. What do you call it? You just put it together.
Interlock
as a
your
fist.
fingers.
Lock your fingers. Yeah, and that's completely. I would say completely ineffective, especially if you're going to the side like he's doing.
Yeah.
You could arguably get maybe more power if you're going straight up and down. I would think.
Yeah, but again,
you're going to break your pinky either way.
Yes, you will. But it's part of, I think, the childlike persona.
I agree. Yeah, completely.
That we've talked about before, that the fights and the stumbling and stuff in this film don't look choreographed or staged, and this is another moment that doesn't look not I want to say naturalness to it, but it doesn't look like a cowboy fight in an old movie or something.
Right. Once again, Karloff manages to come across as completely menacing and childlike at the same time.
Yeah.
And this move is, I want to say it's kind of, I even wrote down WWE, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm not a wrestling guy, but I picture it being like that, like something completely ineffective, but maybe it looks cool
looks good.
And so in a child's mind, a child would do something like that.
Well, I was going to mention too earlier that when he first looks and notices that Henry is trying to crawl away head first down the hole, he makes a great grimacy face.
Okay.
It's a great, his face is just distorted with rage. His teeth are clenched. Yeah, he looks great.
So is this like the result of the kind of day Boris has had?
I would think so. Yeah, we talked about it last week.
We suspect that by the time you get to this part, this is still part of that same day.
It could be.
It may or may not be.
It could be. I don't know how long they shot in that particular set.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we talked about last week, Whale, depending on whatever story you hear, punished Karloff basically for. There's some work being done here on the Long Dead Studios West. So
Long Dead Studios West is a little busier than the doggy daycare that we had going up north.
Yeah. So bear with me.
I just completely. What did you say? That he's
grimacing and it looked good.
Yeah.
That was about all I had there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go with that then.
Then they kind of dance around the spinning gear,
which is perfect. It's
great.
Iconic. It's wonderful.
Well, you get that great doppelganger.
It's completely unnecessary. Doppelganger.
You get that
I like that.
doppelganger shot where they're mirrored back and forth to each other.
Yeah, it's artsy fartsy.
It is artsy fartsy, but it really works.
Yep,
and I think
great.
It speaks a lot about whatever relationship the two of them have had. They're sort of a mirror image. And you get that more in the book, I think, than you do here, but it does sort of speak to that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, even their performance, I feel, changes at that point. And this is something we've seen in this film before, and sometimes I've been critical of it, when they do these quick cuts back and forth.
Yeah.
Their performance doesn't necessarily match what you just saw in the previous shot. And in this case, it's once they lock eyes basically through this mill thing.
Yeah. Spinning
gear thing that you get a profound sense of connection there.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Whatever the connection
Henry's seriously looking at this creature that he's created, and the monster is the monster.
The monster's the monster, but I think...
But he knows who this is. He's not doing this by mistake.
No, he knows who this is. He doesn't know who he himself is yet, and that'll come in the sequel.
Yeah.
But he knows who this man is, as the guy that didn't stop the other guy from whipping him and shoving a torch in his face.
And that's good enough. Yeah, no question.
Yeah. And I think Henry almost looks a little remorseful. I may be reading into it.
No,
but
I
think
agree.
he looks a little, finally realizing that I've made a huge mistake. This poor thing. What did I do?
I think it's the one moment, that you definitely get that impression from Clive.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say the one moment. He's got some moments of sadness and stuff.
Right, but I think looking at him face to face like that, mirrored like they are,
Yep.
I think it's the realization that maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. Putting this creature through this.
Yep, but it's a deep relationship that they have because obviously we'll probably talk about this for 600 weeks, but the monster now has a right to exist.
Yeah.
The monster is a person now,
right?
And that's entirely down on Henry. I don't know. Again, we're both parents,
right?
So we understand what that feeling is.
Well, you were talking about your brother earlier today. Didn't like the novel. For the reason that Victor Frankenstein abandons the creature.
Oh, that's the part about my brother you were going to talk about.
Well, what else?
I'm just kidding.
No, I've never met him, so I can't judge.
Was this for the podcast? No. Yes. No. Exactly. Yeah. That's the impression I get from him, and having not read the novel. But my nephew was there, and he agreed.
Okay. That he's read it.
He gave me that impression.
Okay. All right.
No, but is that not the impression you get from it?
Yeah.
That's the impression I get generally, is that the novel is very succinct and, it doesn't matter. There are some facts there.
Well, there are some things that are succinct.
He just goes to bed, right?
Yeah, he flees to his bed chamber, and he's like huddled under the covers, and the creature pulls apart the curtains that hang around the bed. I don't know.
I feel like we've done this.
We've done this exact conversation halfway across the country about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but now we're doing it slightly California style.
Yeah, we're all laid back.
You can tell.
Chill.
We're high.
Yeah, I've got a blunt sitting here, and we're just
Yep.
And he basically wishes that it will sort of wander off and die.
Yeah.
And I think it would have probably been better for everybody had that happened.
I suppose so.
Here, I think Henry.
All those murders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Henry has a little bit of remorse. So.
Yeah, it's worth it for that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I used the term artsy fartsy, and I used the term unnecessary. Just to
unnecessary.
say. Yeah, it's
How
not.
So?
It's unnecessary in that maybe that's really not what I mean. I just mean they don't. It's a monster chasing a guy, so they don't need to stop and look at each other really. But that's really not the word I mean. It's perfect, so I shouldn't use a term like unnecessary for it. But then,
well, I mean, it isn't necessary to tell the story,
right.
No, but it does make a point.
Yes, for a few seconds, we actually see this connection between them.
Yeah, it wasn't there when they met on the mountain.
Right.
A few minutes.
Fire was
Henry,
the conversation.
Henry, shits his pants and then jabs him in the face with fire.
So now, was that in the restored footage where he shits his pants?
Well, they still haven't found that.
Oh, they still haven't found that. But then in 31, he shit them. They were shit.
Yep.
They were shat.
Jodhpurs were shat.
He shat his jodhpurs.
Well, there's plenty of room there, so.
Hey, look, he ain't the first guy to shit his jodhpurs.
Let me
I'll
tell
tell you, California style. Then Henry does a kind of a clever thing, because if you're because this is where unnecessary really falls apart. Because even in terms of the plot, you could argue he's doing this on purpose to get the monster to keep his eye on him, and then
make a run for it.
Oops! Yeah. He basically gets off the merry-go-round at the right spot to get away.
Runs out onto the balcony.
Having said that, he doesn't do it very well. He maybe should have gone around another time because he goes a little bit, one more time around, and maybe it would have been effective. Yeah. But he gets off the merry-go-round, and then
the monster chases him after
out onto the platform balcony.
It's like a balcony that kind of in the script it says that it runs the entire circumference of the mill. Here, I think it is just a little balcony. It doesn't go all the way around that I could see. It's just on that one side.
It doesn't. I don't even see how it could. There's a big mill, I'm sorry, wind. Whatever.
The sails, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what there are.
Sails.
Wind sails. I don't know. If you know.
That sounds good.
If you know, drop us a line here in in Los Feliz, California.
No, we're on.
Or is this
Atwater? I don't know. Revere Avenue or something.
Don't say that because then people are going to come knocking at the door.
No. This that's not good enough. They'll have to knock on every door. Oh my God, are those torches?
Oh yeah, they are.
All right. So then we see Lionel Belmore.
Lionel Belmore.
He says, "There he is, the murderer." Just not adding anything constructive, not helping anybody.
Superfluous.
It isn't even that. I would go a step further and say he's riling up an already dangerous mob.
Oh yeah.
There he is, the murderer.
Let's get that guy.
Yeah. We think he's the mayor, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so
no, I don't know. And
I've now, you guys have been going on this journey with us with Belmore's character, and you've seen where I started from and where I thought I was going, and I've gone the other way.
Back, yeah.
I think the Baron was right. This guy is more harm than good.
Nothing the Burgermeister says could be of the slightest importance. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying it's very close, but worse than that.
Worse than that.
Yeah, nothing could be of the slightest importance to anybody other than a dangerous mob.
And already,
it's just harm.
And already
he's actively causing harm.
He's stirring the pot. Yeah.
And we're joking around here, but
no,
there he is, the murderer. I mean, who yells that? The mayor doesn't fucking yell that.
He shouldn't anyway.
You wouldn't expect.
Well, I'm wondering now that I something I'd never thought about was, do they elect the mayor in Ingolstadt, or is it just an honorary?
I don't know. What time period are we in? We've talked about, it's gangster era. It's in some with fashion.
1931 in parts of it, and 1831
so it's
in
at
other
least
parts.
1931, or unless you think we're in an actual sort of weird time zone thing, like that Doctor Who episode. No, forget it.
Oh God, no!
Forget it. You guys know which one I mean. The War Games.
That one. The one where he travels through time, is that the one?
I don't know that one, but this something like
something like that. Okay, yeah, nothing more guaranteed to light the place up than that's the guy. Get him.
Yeah, he might as well be the guy. Well, wait a minute, we're not getting ahead of ourselves, right?
No, because
they're not going to set fire to anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Not yet, but every single one of them has a torch in their hand.
Yes,
so.
And then nice segue. Mm-hmm. We get close-ups of every single one of them. Okay, not every single one, about 4 or 5 though.
A bunch of them, yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It really gives you that flavor. That when I watch that part, it makes me feel like it's flavoring our culture completely.
Yeah.
Like what this is. It's almost like this movie invented that torch wielding mob.
Well, we talked about it because it kind of did.
Yeah.
We talked about that a while
Certainly
back.
For the series, but it's because he's the first one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a thing from folklore or anything, but I don't recall. I mean, there's a mob sort of in Caligari.
Okay.
But it's a little different than here. I mean, it's an entirely different film anyway, but
Not entirely.
they all have a unique sort of expression on their face. It's not like the earlier when they're standing in the courtyard of the town gearing up, and when Belmore doles out the Ludwig Forest and all that.
Ludwig.
Whatever.
Throw my arms up. No, that was a different one.
It's not like that where they all kind of had the same stern expression. Here, some of them look a little confused, angry.
Yeah.
It's a nice little mix of.
They're like, at least one guy's like snarling like Karloff.
Yeah.
Like giving it back to him.
Bloodthirsty, yeah. And but I don't think one guy looks a little befuddled.
Yeah.
Like he's not
kind of
quite
looking.
sure.
Is that the guy that looks off to the
He
side?
looks kind of looking off to the right. Like, what are we doing here? Is this?
I thought we were looking for a little girl. No, that was earlier. Yeah.
And it's not like they're quick to judge. That's what's nice about it.
It's nice, yeah. So then
They
there's
don't snap to a.
Oh, and they're actually shaking. There's a guy like shaking his fist. I like
yeah,
that. That's classic.
He used to be one of the Keystone Cops, so it's.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yep. So then we see a shot that I find really interesting. Shot from behind Karloff's head, aiming down, giving you a great sense of of height and place. It's perfect. You're now going to tell me it's a process shot, I'm assuming?
Actually, I'm not sure if that one is. It almost looks like they had a platform.
Like they just built a platform.
Yeah.
Because here's the reason I think it might not be. Because it's a really limited space and you don't see a lot up there. So it's almost like, well, let's just stand up a little platform up there and we'll just have enough space for you and Clive to get in there. And we'll just get a couple of shots straight down and there's some guys with some torches.
And a lot of the process shots, since it is early in the process
of processing the process shots.
Fulton hadn't quite perfected it like he had for the Invisible Man movies or Bride of Frankenstein. So a lot of the process shots here, and we'll be talking about some of the more egregious ones in the next minute or so. There's either like a little
this minute's not exempt.
Yeah, no,
we're not done.
We're not. They have like a shimmer around them because a lot of them are hand painted.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
Or there's some transparency to some of the elements, which we will talk about.
I guess we will talk about all the like there in this one especially. There's some shaky stuff in there, but it's all really done really fast. All of these shots are really fast. Even the shot I was just talking about, that's high up from behind Karloff's head. It's surprising that shot exists because I don't know how they did it or how much time and energy they put into.
They've taken an entire evening
half
to
a second
set
of
that
film?
up for 12 frames.
Yeah,
that's a good point. One thing that is missing is in the shooting script, the Baron is at the mill, and in the Flory shooting script, Victor and the Baron are at the mill, and both of them are ringing. It's a lot of hand wringing and totally pointless. I can see why Whale cut it out, and I'm guessing some of it had to do with Frederick Kerr's health, keeping the guy out all hours of the on a windy hill in San Fernando Valley. Yeah, I can see where they would not want to do that.
So the idea, okay, so your assumption is all of this is done outside. There's none of this that's in a studio.
The mods,
like that shot I'm just talking about now. Well,
yeah, that I think was done on location because.
So those, I call them close-ups. They're like medium close-ups of the villagers shaking their fists and stuff. All that is done outside.
It looks like it's part of the location shot.
So they set the camera up and they said, okay,
Each
bring in the next one. You shake your fist.
That's actually not far off because Purple Rain. I was an extra in my claim to fame.
Oh my God. It took 66 minutes to get to your film debut.
Yeah.
Can I see you in that film?
You can if you look carefully.
Okay.
Whatever. For shots of people dancing, that's exactly what they did, is had the camera up on a crane and you just one by one, they went through the crowd, picked a handful of people, and one by one you went in front, did your little thing, and I don't think any of it got used that I remember because I've only seen it once. But
I guess it's cost effective.
Yeah, just, it's a blank background.
They have music on even?
Yeah.
Was it Prince?
No, it was the time. It was...
okay.
The Bird, I believe, was the song.
Oh.
I'm not a fan, so I don't know.
Yeah, we could do a Prince minute, and then I
Purple
could just
Rain,
torture you.
Purple Rain
minute would just torture you.
Yeah. I don't hate it, but.
Well, we're getting somewhere already.
Yeah. Right. But in the script, the Baron is constantly worried about, they start throwing rocks and things up at the monster, and he's worried, you'll hit my son, which is a genuine concern that a father would have, I would think.
I'm with you.
And Ludwig is there, because he kind of has disappeared at this point. He just sort of blended into the mob, and we really don't see him again, Maria's father.
We didn't say goodbye to Michael Mark.
No, I've totally
spaced out.
We
got some big goodbyes coming up. I've got a few marked down.
Yeah, we do. I believe the last shot he's in is when they're running up the hill. Frankenstein, there he is. They go running up the rocks.
I mean, that's why we didn't mark it. It's so dumb.
It's just kind of he just sort of runs out of the movie, and that's that. He doesn't get...
He runs out of the movie. Out of the left side of the movie.
Yeah.
He's in the soundtrack somewhere. Running around.
Well, he is... Well, no, that's not true. He is at the bottom of the mill when they're using the battering ram, now that I think about it.
Okay. You
can see him, and it's his voice that says once more, looped over and over again. So he's there. But in the shooting scripts, both of them, he is aiming the gun, his rifle up to ostensibly shoot the monster, but Henry's right there. And of course, the Baron tries to stop him, like, no, you'll hit my son. And he's like, yeah, what about my daughter?
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a fairly justified, your son is responsible for my daughter's death, essentially.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Something
I thought
discussed.
we were about to disagree, which was, I thought you were saying, yep, justice for my daughter's life is so kick-ass, vigilante, awesome, that I should be able to shoot at the monster and not worry about your son. Which is a problem.
Well,
but no, you're right. If his son is also responsible, then that's a whole.
Which is something that they never really addressed. That's the only moment anywhere that I find where anybody holds Henry personally responsible for any of this until the sequels.
All those murders.
Huh?
All those murders.
Which is an odd line because he's Pretorius. It's from Bride of Frankenstein, and Pretorius there is using it as a threat, and it's really no big secret. So it's not. It's kind of a hollow.
Things get weird.
It's a hollow threat.
There will be some weird things that will just sort of happen in between films. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. This one's not quite over yet.
No, we still got a few minutes.
We still got to put up with a few more minutes of Frankenstein.
Yes. Well, but then it cuts back and forth between them tussling on the balcony and the mob with their torches in the air for a little while. And I don't know if the monster has just had enough or what, but he picks Henry up and chucks him over the edge.
Yeah.
And this is where we end up with some problematic effects.
Yeah.
There's, the monster is nothing but head and hands because the black outfit completely vanishes.
Yeah.
And Henry is a see-through dummy, and very, very obviously a dummy because people's arms and legs don't curve and arc like that.
Well, I think we'll see more. Yeah, I think it's worse next minute.
It's worse in the next minute, yeah. Because this is
so
pretty quick.
I'll have more to say about that
it's pretty quick here.
Next
and
week.
It's from farther away.
Yeah.
So,
but the effects part you're talking about here is definitely here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where it looks weird.
Yeah.
And could be fixed and will be for the Frankenstein Special Edition.
Probably.
Yeah. Frankenstein. What's weird though is they're going to call this episode 4. I don't know why they're doing that.
I
don't think they're going to.
Yeah, they're putting in that.
That would be funny if they called it episode 1 though.
Frankenstein episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
You have a crawl at the.
Maybe a little crawl.
Yeah. All right. That works.
Hey.
Do you have anything?
No, I was just wondering if you knew that we have a Patreon.
I've heard rumors of that.
Yeah. So one of the things that people can do, we're just about to wrap this up, so we're going full speed ahead to the end of this movie, wrapping up the podcast. We're going to close it down. We're going to shut it down. We're never going to do it again.
Yeah, that's right.
But there is another film coming up. So if we were to maybe get enough people to contribute to our Patreon, it might help us in this, because there is some talk. We have talked about maybe doing Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. We've mentioned.
We've talked about it a little bit.
Air.
We both agreed we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But it's possible. Anything's possible.
But twist my arm hard enough, and I might talk about it.
Because we both hate Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a terrible movie.
No secret there.
But the joke here is, of course, that it was both of our number one pick for our.
Well, that's true.
Favorite Karloff movies.
You'd know that if you were a Patreon.
If you were a Patreon, you could hear those episodes. They're still there.
Patreon.com/Frankenstein Minute. Sign up for $2 a month, and you'll get every episode a day early, and you'll get bonus content that's only available to our Patreons. Or give $1 a month for some reason, and you get nothing.
You don't
but do it anyway. Just to
you don't get jacked, but you have the knowledge that you've contributed in some way to a podcast that you love dearly.
And I gotta be honest, there are people that give more than $2 a month, and they get the same as what's $2 a month. So I don't know why we're doing that.
They get the satisfaction of knowing.
Yeah, if we get enough people, maybe we could talk about doing tiers. We could do another tier where you get even more stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what.
I don't know.
I don't know. We could talk about it.
Yeah.
And now we're in the part. Now there's a guy in a black hat. It's the
guy from Poltergeist?
No, it's the guy from Breaking Bad. It's Walter White in his black little. You should see his little like pork pie hat.
Oh, well,
Can you see it? No.
I got to get up. And that's work.
Belong